All right, so Miles, I would argue that you are kind of the comic relief of Smile 2, which is a very heavy burden, I feel like, in a horror movie. Did you feel that way from the get-go? And then what do you think that the role of comedy is in a movie like this?
No, that's a great question. Yeah, I felt that from the get-go. I think Joshua was written as a bit of a um, court jester in the movie, bit of the town clown, which is a comfortable place for me to live in a story like that. I like to be that kind of character. So yeah, I felt that, but I also think that comedy and horror inherently go hand in hand. Um, and I noticed across the board in the Smile 2 script, I thought there were a lot of moments that presented comedy in a different way than the original. If not through explicit like joke format, then just in the situations that were presented, like I think already the idea of a smile being something really freaky is gonna make you laugh when you're watching it, especially in a crowded theater. Um, so I think there were a lot of moments that when you are jumping or when you're anxious or scared, you're also probably laughing just at the ridiculousness of the gore or the irony or the sheer audacity of the filmmakers.
Yeah, Joshua always seems to appear with a Voss water whenever he needs to.
Yes, go Voss.
So I talked with Rosemary last week, and we were talking about the smile that you also get to do, and she said it was like an athletics for her face. So I kind of wanted to know how you felt about it because yours is very quick. It's kind of in passing. So did you find it difficult? Did Parker have this clear vision going in of what he wanted it to look like?
Yeah, Parker had a super clear vision. I have a huge mouth. Like, I have a huge mouth. I always have. Um, when I was little, my family used to like comment on how humongous my smile could get, especially if I was like hopped up on sugar or whatever. Um, so yeah, it's pretty easy for me to like move my mouth into those positions, but Parker definitely had a specific idea for what he wanted. And before we shot that smile scene, I was smiling for him and he was like, all right, now move your lip like 1 inch to the left. All right, now like show your gums just a little bit less. All right, and I like show that like back molar just a little bit more, which is athletic, and really fun. It was fun.
That's crazy. That is quite, and Rosemary was saying the exact same thing of how it was just like minute details of what he wanted. It's quite impressive that you guys were able to do it and that Parker had an idea going in.
Yeah, I think it's fun that it's not CGI either. Like there's nothing enhanced about that. It's really just the freakiness of the human face, like to the extreme.
That makes it more impressive because I assumed it was like a little touch up of a CGI, but that's kudos to you all then.
Yeah.
So Joshua's Sky's assistant, and he's kind of the lowest rung on the ladder. And like you said, I like Town Clown a lot. Would you say that his intentions are genuine? Do you think he really cares about Sky, or is he there to kind of move himself up in the world of Hollywood and the music industry?
A little bit of both, isn't it that the way it goes in show business? I think he has really pure intentions, or at least that was my take on it. I think it's uh, more exciting to see someone vulnerable because they are putting their heart on the line and because they really do care about what they're doing. But at the end of the day, especially the music business, it's so cutthroat,
Mhm.
so intense, and you really have to be on your A game at all times. So does Joshua have hopes of one day being the Darius at the label? Like, absolutely. Um, but I think at this early stage in his career, he's trying to catch more flies with honey. Uh, it's not really getting him places, though.
So you've starred in a few projects that have an established and dedicated fan base. I mean, I really love The Wilds. I was so sad to see that it didn't get past season two, but you have The Wild, you have Agatha, and now Smile too. Do you feel any pressure joining these projects, knowing that people have expectations going into it? And it kind of also relates to the theme of Smile too, of like the expectations that fans have placed on Sky, I would argue.
Totally. That's a great question too. I think when I joined the Wilds, I maybe felt a little bit more of that pressure because the fan base for the Wilds was so dedicated and passionate in such a beautiful way. And it was my first project of that size, that caliber. So I definitely wanted to honor joining a project and a property that had taken care of its fans in such a great way, especially it being a really female-centered
Mm,
project. I didn't really want to take up too much space in the wrong way. But I think as time has gone on, it's really about honoring the project that you're a part of in that moment. You can't really think too hard about the macrocosm of these universes that you're joining because otherwise you'll try to service different parts of that universe that aren't really aiding you in your development of that specific character. Of course, it helps to know context. Like, of course, I had watched WandaVision. Of course, I saw Smile. Um, so that context sort of is with you as you step into that role. But I try to just take the role for what it is on paper and bring myself in that current moment to it and hope that I'm fitting into the universe in a way that not only the creators wanted when they cast me, but in a way that the fans are happy to see.
mhm. So there's something interesting about Smile 1 and Smile 2. My 90-year-old grandmother loved Smile. She has not seen Smile 2 yet. But
Oh, wow.
my 61-year-old dad, who's not a horror movie guy, came out of Smile 2 as like the biggest fan. So
Cool.
what do you think it is about these two films and what they're doing with the horror genre that is something different that is turning these non-fans into genuine excited people about the film?
It's Parker's eye for detail, 100%. He is such a precise filmmaker who really, really cares about the the technicality of the project, the aesthetics of the project, and the spiritual underbelly of the project. I watched him and Charlie, our DP, maneuver some shots that were so incredibly technically advanced and difficult.
Mhm.
And I think a different filmmaker may not have taken the time to really flesh out how we're telling that story in that way. But Parker's eye for detail, I think, is so it's just razor sharp. And when you're watching a movie like that, you're not only are you on the edge of your seat because of these scary circumstances, but when the film is taking such good care of you in that way, you're really at its disposal in an entirely new way. And I think it's more exciting for audiences than they may even realize in that way.
Yeah. My last question for you. Your character is one of the lucky ones that did not meet an untimely death. But if you could have had like an all-out gore fest of the demise of Joshua, what would you have done?
I had this this phone strapped to me on my
Hmm.
side, which I guess is very like assistant core. And then I also had like a lanyard at all times because of this like all access pass. So, and I remember when I would get into costume, I'd be like, my this and that and the other. Like, I feel like I'm like a bag lady. So probably something with those two lanyards around my neck. It's probably a cool like cross suffocation situation that you can do with that kind of medieval in a way. Maybe hung from the rafters or something.
It's pretty
Yeah,
gnarly.
pretty gnarly.
Well, thank you so much, Miles, and congrats on the film and everything.
Thanks, Tina. Nice to meet you.
Nice
Thank
to
you.
meet you too.